In this video, I'm going to give you a tour of using OneNote 2013. Now, I know you see OneNote 2010 guide right now on the screen. Just ignore that because I've been using OneNote from past versions, and I've been in OneNote since installing 2013. This is the default that has shown up. So your screen's going to look quite a bit different. If you don't have OneNote, what you can do is from Blackboard, if you look on the right hand side of your screen once you log in, underneath the IT help desk, they give you information about the Student Advantage program, and this is where you can install up to 5 different systems, up to 5 times I believe, the Office 365 Pro Plus, which will list or which will allow you to have a variety of applications. Here's the list for Windows based, here's the list for Mac. If you're working on a Mac, please note that it does not include OneNote, so that's going to be your responsibility to acquire OneNote, or you can come on campus and work through OneNote in there. Please make sure that you read this carefully and go through the steps if you want to do the installation. Alright, so when we're in OneNote, what you have is you have at the very top in the upper left hand corner, this is the quick access toolbar. You'll see the OneNote logo, and you'll see some of the default buttons, back, undo, and then you'll see the dock to desktop. Then you'll see the little menu drop down button. I'm going to go ahead and click on that drop down button, and you can turn on or turn off any of those commands. Now if you don't see a command listed, you can go to more commands, and you can go ahead and choose the command that you want to add to that drop down. So I'm going to go ahead and choose pin modes, and then click add, and you see it shows up on the right hand side. Once I click OK, there are my pin modes. If I want to remove it, I can go ahead and go to more commands, select it from the column on the right hand side, and then just click on remove. Now if you don't see your command, you want to click on the drop down menu where it has choose commands from, and if you know what tab it's on, you can choose the tab. If you're not sure, you can go to all commands and just find it. It'll be listed in alphabetical order. Now directly below you have your tabs, and as you click on each of these, you'll get a ribbon with the exception of the file that takes you to what we call the backstage. Now if you don't see your tabs, or if you don't see the ribbon directly underneath it, which contains a list of commands, there's a good chance that either your ribbon has been collapsed, or if you look in the upper right hand corner, I can click on the ribbon display options button, and I can go to show tabs and commands. And again, if your tabs are missing, then there's a good chance that you have it hidden, and you can come to the same button and then choose show tabs and commands. I like keeping both my tabs and my ribbons displayed. Now directly below your ribbon you have what we refer to as the notebook area. All right? And at this point, this is where you can see a variety of different notebooks. Now what you'll probably see here, it might say Exploring Notebook, and again that's probably because you haven't launched OneNote for the first time. So even though this is showing OneNote 2010 guide, the concept still applies. What you're really doing in OneNote is taking that physical binder with a name on it and all these tabs and all these pages, and you're creating it electronically. Now let me go ahead and show you one of the notebooks that I've used in the past and actually created. I'm going to go to the Workplace Technologies notebook, and you can see I have the name of the notebook, I have all these tabs, and this is what I use just to kind of keep track of things when I have ideas that pop in my head. If I have more tabs, I can just click on the tab sheet that has a bunch of dots, or what we call an ellipse, and I can go ahead and choose that tab. And it'll just toggle through all of that information. Okay? Now, on the right hand side, this is where you have all the pages in that particular section. So let me just go back to the OneNote 2010 guide, and again, you don't have that, but keep in mind when I clicked on my Workplace Technologies, that's the name of my notebook. When I clicked on the tabs, that's what these would be here, and then the individual pages within. Okay? Alright, so let me go ahead and show you something else that you can do. If you want to keep this notebook pane visible, which I actually prefer to do so, what I do is I come down to where it says Add Notebook, but I click on the Pin Notebook pane. In this way, it'll always stay on the left-hand side. Yes, it does make your window a little smaller that you're working in, but it's a lot easier for me to navigate this way than it is to come up there and make the changes. And then I can always unpin it at any time if I need more room. Alright, so now if you take a look at my workbook that I have visible, which is Workplace Technologies, I have all these sections, and within each section I have tabs. Okay, I'm sorry, I have pages, excuse me. Now if I wanted to add a section, I can click on this little plus sign to the right, and I can type my section name. So let's say this one's going to be called Office 365. So now I've named my tab, and now I want to create my first page, and let's say I'm going to go ahead and notice I just clicked right above the line that has the date that I'm creating this. I'm going to go ahead and call this page Login Procedures. And notice as I'm typing the title of this page, it also shows up on the tab on the right hand side as well. If I wanted to add another page to this same section on the right hand side, which is the page pane, I can go ahead and click on the plus sign. It's going to add an untitled page, and as I type the title, let me go ahead and type Procedure 1. It'll add the title over here on the right hand side as well. If I wanted to change the title of that page, I can right click on it and choose Rename. And again, note it just takes me to the page itself and allows me as I'm typing to rename in both places. If I wanted to delete one of these pages, I can just right click on the page and then I can choose Delete. If I wanted to delete a section, I can right click on that section tab and I can go ahead and choose Delete. And that's how you can work with your notebooks. So there's a lot of things you can do with those notebooks. So you have that notebook pane here on the left, and again you can pin it or unpin it. I prefer to have mine pinned so I can see all my other notebooks that I have open. You also have an area here where you can add sections, and you can click on the plus sign to create a new section for the notebook that you're in. And then you can also add pages to the current section as well. Or what you can do, if you create a new section, when you click on the title at the top, above the date in the page, then you'll see the page name will start to be created on the right hand side. Now this little arrow at an angle is a full page view, so if you want more room, there you go. You can still see what notebook you're in and what section. Then you click on the normal view, and that's just a toggle back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and delete this page. I'll go ahead and delete the section too. I don't need it. If you delete a section with pages, it'll delete those pages as well, but it'll ask for confirmation of that. So this is basically the area that you have to work with. Now there's a special notebook, and it's not really called a notebook, but it's called Quick Notes. And it's down at the very bottom left-hand side of the screen. I love Quick Notes. I use this to send quick screenshots of things that I'm working on, and then I can file it later in one of my notebooks. So if I go to Quick Notebooks, you can see I have quite a few notebooks here. On the right, I'm sorry, not notebooks, but pages on the right-hand side. And these are usually things that I found out on the internet, and I'll just go ahead and send it to OneNote, and then I'll file it later on if I need it. If I don't need it, I'll just go ahead and delete it. So for example, this is something that I found, Tools for the Work and School. Now it does not belong to a notebook just yet, so if I want to put it in a notebook, let's say if I want to put it in the Workplace Technologies notebook, alright, and what I'm going to do at this point, I'll just go ahead and right click on that page, and I'll go ahead and choose Move. And once I choose Move, you see that it brings up a list of notebooks that are currently open. I can go ahead and select the notebook that I want to put it in, and if there's a certain section within that notebook, I'll put this in my Web Tools section. You select the section and you choose Move. Now I could have also copied it as well. Let's go ahead and go to the Web Tools section, and there is the Tools for Work and School. So that's how I really use OneNote quite a bit when I'm out on the internet. I'm doing some things and I want to capture an image, or I want to send it to OneNote, but I'm not sure which notebook I want to put it in, or even if I have a notebook that exists. If that's the case, it'll go to Quick Notes and it allows you to file it later on. So I'm a firm believer in using OneNote. It's a quick way to capture that information that you need. So I've shown you how to go ahead and do some of the creating of sections. Again, it's just that lovely little tab. You can type the name up there, section name, all right. Also how to create a page in a section. Once you type it in the page itself, right above the current date, it'll show up on the right hand side. If you delete a section, you can right click on it, choose Delete, and it will delete all the pages inside. You can also move these sections around as well. So if you left click on the section and drag, follow that triangle down. That's a quick way to move those sections. If you have a lot of sections like I do, you want to move it around. Notice how I clicked and drag it and I moved up and over. Maybe I want to put it between software and hardware. All right, so there's a lot of easy click and drag and things that you can do here. So as you go through Chapter 1, you'll be learning how to delete, rename sections as well as pages. If I want to move some of this around, I can go ahead and click and drag and move it around, move it back up. So there's a lot of different things you can do to organize your notes. I like this because it reminds me of a big Post-it note that I can dump everything and then go back and keep it, delete it, move it around, do what I want with it later on. You can also merge some of your sections together as well. You can send things from Outlook to OneNote, so you do have that option, and you'll be reading how to do that also. Have fun with OneNote. I think it's a great way for you to go ahead and start collecting that information that you need. One of the things that you will be doing is when you get ready to create a notebook for the first time, you will go to File, New. You always want to tell it where you want to put the notebook. This is a little different than Word or Excel. You have to type the notebook name. So I'm going to type IM 155 class, and I'm going to choose Create Notebook, and now I have my notebook. There it is right there. So I can go ahead and start adding sections. So I can right click on the new section and rename it, just call it General Info. I can create another section and I can call it, oh, my bad. I can call it OneNote. And another section, you can double click too in there, and I'll call this Web Tools. And another section, Technology, Rotation. We'll do one more, and we'll call this Capstone. So you can create a notebook for this class, and as you start working through those areas that we'll be working on in this course, you can start adding your own notes and your own pages. So it's a great way to start using OneNote. Just use it for your notes for this class. And just a little something about the notebook. Let me collapse this one. Here's the one I just created. And if I click on the triangle down, it'll expand all those sections. But just to see where it actually saved it, if I right click on my notebook name and go to Properties, I can see the name, I can color code it, but I can also see where to actually put it, and I really don't like where it automatically placed my notebook. So it puts it in a folder on your hard drive called My Computers OneNote Notebook. So if you want it on your flash drive and you accidentally did this without telling it where to save it, click Change Location, and then go ahead and navigate to the storage device that you want to save it as. So I'm going to go to my desktop and put it in my 155 folder, and then I'll click Select. Alright, so if you accidentally, and that's a common mistake, if you accidentally, when you're creating a notebook, alright, and you type the name, you might forget to click Create in a different folder, okay? Or if you choose Computer, you still need to choose Create in a different folder. So keep that in mind, folks, when you guys create your notebooks, because it's the opposite set of steps than what you're used to doing. Usually you tell the program where to save it and then what to save it as. Well, in this case, it's wanting a name, and it doesn't bring up that Save As dialog box for you. So if you accidentally put it somewhere and you don't know where it's at, just right click on that tab on the left hand side in your notebook pane for that notebook, and then left click on Properties so you can see where it actually placed it, and you can always change it. Have fun with this notebook program with OneNote. You'll have a great time using it. And also you can download OneNote on some of your other mobile devices as well. So I would definitely encourage you to use it as a storage of information. Have fun with it.